Hey there, my name is Chris Acton with Acton Creative, and this, well, it's not exactly a handwoven experience. This is a very special episode called Acton Creative, The Overview. You see, over the last few years, I have been quietly and organically building up this fabulous business called Acton Creative, and I think it's a good time to stop for a moment and fill you in where we've been, where we are, and where we're going. So without further ado, let's talk about where we've been. So, technically, Acting Creative started in 2008. Now, I say technically because not much was happening. I had left the corporate world, and all I knew was that I wanted to weave all the livelong day. That's all I knew. Let's just say it was a slow ramp up to get to a place where I was doing art fairs and markets in earnest. I was continuously making new handbags and home goods. Those were the items that I really loved to make. And home goods being pillows, towels, runners, that sort of thing. So for many years, that was my life. I did art fairs, I did markets, I traveled, I wove. It was fine. And one day, I really had kind of a come to Jesus moment. I thought, this is not a good fit. Not only am I not making any money, I am not having any fun. And friends, if you are going to make up your own job, there should be some element that is pretty darn fun because you are making it up for yourself. So I thought, well, I need to turn the boat. I need to go in a different direction. I don't know exactly what that direction is, but I need to go in a different direction. So in 2018, I decided no more retail. I want to do one more event. I don't want to worry about setting up a tent and the weather and the marketing and all of that stuff. So I cut myself off. I'm like, okay, get creative, find another way. So it took me, a couple years, but in February of 2020, I released my first video on YouTube called A Handwoven Experience. Now, little did I know that the timing, February 2020, I didn't know it was coming. No one did, of course, but that turned out to be kind of kismet, didn't it? Since everyone's gonna be living on their screens shortly thereafter. So February of 2020, the very first episode of Handwoven Experience was released. And I knew that I wanted to create one short format educational video geared towards beginning weaving. That was the whole goal. That was what I was gonna lead with. One a week, let's go. So to add to that, the very end of July of the same year, I thought, I'm gonna be brave and try this live streaming idea. And even though I didn't call it that right at the very beginning, that was the start of Live at the Loom, which, has turned out to be one of my favorites. I love that live interaction you have in that kind of format. So fun. So fast forward just about a year, and we, the community on Live at the Loom, spontaneously made a weave along. And when I say spontaneously, that is the truth. I had no plans to do any such thing, but it just kind of evolved, and we had a fabulous time, and it was wonderful and impactful, and I thought, we're gonna do more of this. So that was kind of the birth of the weave-alongs. Now, fast forward even a couple more years after that, in January of 2023, I first released the Dress Your Loom course. So all along, as I knew I wanted to talk about beginning weaving, I had in my mind that I wanted to have kind of an anchor course that was all about dressing your loom. I wanted to provide just an easy system to help a beginning weaver not stress over that part of the process, so that they could just follow along and they knew how to start to get to a place where they were ready to throw a shuttle. That was the whole idea. So that kind of brings us up to date, right? Those are all the major components that make up Acting Creative. Let's talk about where we are right now. So today, Acting Creative is in a really good spot right now. We've kind of established what our calendar looks like. We have 2 weave-alongs a year, one in April and one in October. And we release the Dress Your Loom course in January and July. So it's kind of one big thing per quarter company-wide, which is awesome. We also have, of course, all of the great weekly stuff happening. Every Wednesday, there's a new episode of a handwoven experience, which I love because we're building this really rich, juicy library of topics for any, I say beginning weaver, but any weaver, period. There's so much to cover, and I love that we're never going to exhaust all of the topics. So, handwoven experience, educational videos every week. We love that. And of course, on Thursdays, we have Live at the Loom. It's a live stream opportunity. I think what's been amazing is that my idea from the start, well, the start of this iteration, has been that Acton Creative will focus on education and community. Like, those are the two components of the business. So I love that Wednesdays fills the education box, check, check, and Thursdays checks the community box there. It's just wonderful. And I love that kind of vibe from week to week, that I get to share information with you and then you get to share things with me on Thursdays. It's really lovely. Plus, we have a fantastic Facebook group called the Acton Creative Community. Now, this group was not my idea. I always like to say this. However, it's a brilliant idea and I'm so proud to be a part of it. And to go with that, I just want to say thank you to all the people that help right now keep Acton Creative running. It takes a little village, let me tell you. There's a handful of folks that are moderating the Acton Creative Community Facebook group. It takes quite the village to run a Weave Along each April and October. A huge shout out to all of the people that are involved in that. And behind the scenes, I'm building a team, which is so exciting to have people helping with all of the moving parts of the business. Because you know how that goes. As you grow, there's just more to do. And I have some really passionate, amazing people behind the scenes that are helping us get there. So that is a great snapshot of where we are right now. Boy, it's a good place to be. Let me tell you that. Let's talk about what's coming. So, where is Acton Creative going? Well, it's gonna sound kind of cliche, but the future looks bright. You know, we're at a good spot now where we have these kind of key programs in place, and we are just gonna lean into those and make them better and bigger as we go. On the community front, I really want to grow the Weave Alongs and expand their reach, as well as Live at the Loom. I think there's so much potential there just to get in front of different audiences, people who are other kinds of crafters but are kind of curious. This weaving thing looks cool. So just doing a better job of getting out in front of other people and inviting them to join us in the Acton Creative community, because it is the coolest place to be. I am completely biased, but it is the place to be for sure. So on the community front, we're absolutely focused on doing a better job every time we do a Weave Along and looking for ways to really creatively grow Live at the Loom. On the education front, my commitment as a teacher to my students for the Dress Your Loom course is to have a fresh version every 2 years. Now, you may be thinking, I don't think it's changing much in 2 years. The process will be the same. However, in 2 years, I have been learning new things and the technology gets better and better. So we're absolutely looking at ways to update the course every couple years and to make sure that you have more resources as part of the Dress Your Loom package, and that it is really a well-rounded experience and you have everything you need right there. But to go with that, on the education side, here is part of my brainstorm. In the future, I want to have a membership that walks you through the complete list of fundamentals you need as a weaver. My goal is by the time you complete this so many month membership, you have learned all these basic skills and how to use certain tools and everything you need to know so that ultimately you don't have to have a teacher. You can teach yourself from then on. You have covered the bases. You have all of the things you need for the foundation to have a wonderful, exciting weaving career going forward. Now, sounds like a tall order when I explain it like that, doesn't it? But I'm so excited to pull something like that together. Over the years, I've really been making myself a checklist of what are the things that a beginning weaver would need to know to get to a point where you felt like you could be independent. Yeah, exciting, right? And of course, to go with that, I'll be building the support structure here at Acton Creative, making sure that you know who to talk to if you have questions, whether it be about the company or about weaving, and just growing things kind of from an internal and external aspect at the same time. Oof, it's gonna be good. Now, this whole thing has been very, very wonderful and serious, and we need a little levity here. So we're gonna end this video with a little quick fire kind of trivia, so stay tuned. Okay, rapid fire trivia, here we go. Number one, well, when I was thinking of a name for the company, I had other options. One of the choices was to do something really artistic and moody, like Burgundy Chaos. Ugh, that's a horrible idea. But, you know, when you're trying to think of a name for a company, you roll through some kind of crazy options. So I'm grateful we ended up at Acton Creative. But, you know, it could have been something else much more bizarre. Number two, I have no less than 15 tubes of lipstick. Yes, it's true. You know what's so funny is that when I was in the corporate world, I wore lipstick a lot, and then I had a lot of years where I didn't need to. And once I put the camera on, I thought, yeah, I need some lipstick. So you could say I have a little bit of a lipstick addiction, but I do really love it. And while I have a lot of lipstick, I have very few pairs of earrings, even though these are kind of new. Number three, you may have noticed in my background that I have a new set of cool little brooms hanging on the wall behind me over off to that side. Those brooms were made by my Uncle Bert, and he was a very creative guy and made a whole bunch of different things, and he took a couple classes in making brooms. So I was lucky enough to have inherited them, and they hold a place of honor and pride near the weaving studio space. And number four, so when I started the whole thing, I didn't plan for the mug to be such an iconic symbol of Live at the Loom. It was just because I needed something to hold and I was thirsty. However, it has become a kind of the mascot for Live at the Loom, and the mug is nearly always nearby. So that was not intentional, friends, but now it absolutely is. And number five, ultimately, my goal is to become the Bob Ross of the weaving world. He's kind of my idol. I think that Bob had a wonderful way with people and making it feel like you could do it too. And that, friends, that is my plan, is to make everyone feel like they can be a weaver as well. So I figured we'd end things with a little bit of fun, because talking about all the business things is very serious work. However, whether we're fun or serious, I just want to say thank you so much to everyone who has been part of the Acton Creative community and helped me and others get here so far. And I cannot wait to see what we all together will do in the future. So cheers to just a heck of a lot more years of Acton Creative. And thank you, thank you, thank you so much for being right there with me along the journey. Happy weaving.